All right, so hey, welcome to the 2021 Hall of Fame NOLA Baseball. We're excited to have you guys here. We're really excited with our honorary guest that's going to be presenting tonight. And, you know, I was fortunate enough that I got to play at the University of New Orleans, and Coach Maestri was my athletic director. And, you know, the values that Coach Maestri, 1984 World Series team, what he did is his leadership at the University of New Orleans was something that I needed. The coach that was there was Tom Schwanner, and I think I've told you guys before, I was pretty wild, and I needed some structure, I needed some guidance, and Coach Maestri had many of conversations with me through the years at the University of New Orleans. You know, I look around this room and I think to myself, you know, 17, 18 years ago, we started NOLA Baseball. And I told most of you, but NOLA Baseball was because my first son, Zach, was not very good. He was, in fact, he was the 11th guy on a 10-man roster. And so he would always come to me and say, well, why am I always playing right field? And why do I hit dead last? And I said, at an early age, like I tell Brody today, I either tell him that you're not very good or you've got to work and get better. And you basically work against yourself. Don't work against someone else. Just be the very best you can possibly be. And 17, 18 years later, we're now 540 kids signed, 92 draft picks, and 7 first rounders. And I think that is a lot to do because of guys like Coach Maestri, who was a mentor and a leader to many people in the community. He went on to take over the New Orleans Zephyrs, and if you don't know Coach Maestri's story, you'll be very intrigued that he was the first guy in Louisiana to really break the ground and bring a team to the College World Series. So I got a couple of special guests here today. Bo is with Wilson DeMarini. Introduce yourself to Bo a little bit later. He'll be here tonight. I've got I can't see her, but she's here. Ronnie Rance is a really good friend of mine too. He's the Louisiana Sports Foundation. And the work that they do throughout the year to put up special events like this and be a part of these things, and the items of auction that are here are unreal. And Grayson will be able to answer all your questions on live bidding, and she'll have all the information for you guys should you elect to win. It'll be going virtual, so the virtual piece of this will be really good, and I'm just excited. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you guys Ron Maestri.
Thank you, Coach. You know, can you hear me? Doesn't sound like a son. When Coach Todd called me, he said, Mace, are you a good American? I said, yeah, I'm a good American. He said, well, if you're a good American, then you believe in a Constitution of the United States. And I said, of course I do. What's this, a trick question? He said, well, if you believe in the Constitution of the United States, you believe in free speech. I said, of course I believe in free speech. He said, well, I want you to give one on July 30th here, but I'm glad to be here. How many Cub fans we have here? Oh, jeez. I'm in mourning. Had a big day. You know, just from short time up here, I've seen all these signs and everything, and all you young guys and young ladies out here, you don't know how lucky you are. I can remember, it's been a long time ago, but we didn't have all this. But you've got an opportunity to go out and really do something with yourself, whether it's baseball, it doesn't matter, in life. And I've been in this game for 50-some years, and I do unofficial research. Now, what do I mean by unofficial research? I've had a lot of players, high school players, college players, professional players, and I look at what makes a great athlete or what makes a certain player special. And when I look out here, I see a lot of you, and I'm going to give you some of the things that I've seen, you might differ, but I'm just telling you, in my years, in my experience, the players, the people that have gone on, whether it's baseball or in life, they have these things. Number one, how many have goals, set a goal of what you want to do? It doesn't matter if it's baseball, it doesn't matter if it's in school, it doesn't matter if it's in your everyday life. What's your goal? I'm not telling you have to have a goal that you can't reach. Have a goal that's reachable. Have a goal that's realistic. You might want to be a better student. You might want to be a better person. You might want to be a better hitter, a better pitcher. But set yourself a goal, and each day you go out, whether it's on the baseball field, whether it's your home, whether it's at school, try to reach that goal. If you reach your goal, reset your goal. Reach a little higher. Try something that you think maybe that you can't do. You would be surprised. And the players that I've had, not only in the big leagues, but that have gone on in business or whatever, they started out with a little goal, they reached a little bit higher, they reached a little bit higher. So set your goals. You got to have desire and you have to have motivation. What motivates you? You know, you're going to hear a lot, and you probably, if you're watching TV and you're watching baseball games, you hear the term, you need a routine. What's a routine? I don't know, have any of you in here? What kind of a routine do you set for yourself? All the good players that I've had, and particularly today in the big leagues, have some side of a routine. They come in every day if you're a hitter. You come in and you prepare. Now today, I know, Buster, you've got cameras, you've got video, you've got all these tools that you can use that can help you be a better player. So what's a routine? When I was with the Zephyrs, we had AAA, we had a lot of major league players that were here, got sent down, got sent up. You take a hitter, they come in at 2 o'clock for a game that night. Most of them now today, I see, you know, you're going to eat, you take care of yourself. We used to play, we'd get on I'd drive the van, we'd go to McDee's, we'd get out, we'd go to McDonald's, have a Big Mac, play the doubleheader, go get a Big Mac and drive home. Today, you need to take care of yourself physically, you need to take care of yourself mentally. And the good hitters, they come in, they start to prepare. The hitters go into a cage. They might have a tee. They put the ball on the tee. They practice their swing. The coach will come in and play flips. Then they'll go out on the field and take batting practice. Every day they come in, they get into a routine. Pitchers, you come in. One day you might throw BP. Another day you might throw a bullpen. But it's a routine that you develop. Now, what motivates you to do that? Well, if you're going to play, and I've always believed this, and this is one thing that I've learned not only when I was growing up, when I got into college, if you have to motivate yourself to go out and play a game of baseball, then we've got problems. I always felt like, boy, oh boy, I can't wait to go out there and take a ground ball or, you know, whatever. It's fun. It should be fun. It should be a chore. So get in the routine. Great teams are comprised of athletes and coaches that have learned how to prepare good work habits that benefit not only themselves but their teammates. And the biggest thing you hear today, and if you're watching TV, I don't care what sport, is team chemistry. What's a good teammate? You know, this game, although in many cases it's an individual sport, you're an infielder, you're a pitcher, you're a hitter, but you're a team. We got in the Olympics, you're watching some of them, the team sports. You can't compete at a high level if you're all about yourself. If you're a team, you care about your teammate, he cares about you, then you've got good motivation and you have a chance to succeed. What's another thing that we all talk about? If I were to come out and watch you play, and your parents are here, and you've got coach here, and you want a scholarship, or you want to go on and play at a junior college, or Division I, Division II, what's your attitude? Believe me, I come out and I watch a game, I'm going to watch you hit, I'm going to know how you react when you strike out, how you react when you make an error, how you react with your teammates. Are you positive? Do you lift somebody up when they're down? It's your attitude that you show, not only me, but anybody that's coming out to watch you. And it's so important. I got some things here that I'll talk to you about. Excuses are complicated. Reasons are simple. Okay, think about that. It's easy for you to give an excuse, but really it's not that hard to be not complicated. It's very simple. If you strike out, it's the umpire's fault. If you drop a pop-up, the sun was in my eyes. You know, I hear them on TV, they say there's a high sky. As far as I'm born, I'm 81 years old, and I've seen the sky has always been high. I don't know. Maybe the sun is in a different place. Excuses are uncomplicated. Reasons are controllable. You can talk about an excuse if you missed a ground ball, or if you missed a pop-up. You can have every kind of excuse, but you can control that. If the sun's in your eyes, then you better go out the next day. You better get some sunglasses. You better get some pop-ups. You better learn how to shield yourself and catch the ball. I've always said in the game of baseball, you're a skill. It's like you're out there, ground balls hit to you, or you strike out, or whatever. Everybody's watching you. You're watching a football game. Does anybody know what the right guard's doing, or the left tackle's doing, or the center's doing? They could fall down, you wouldn't know. But in baseball, it's all about you. It's all about your attitude. It's all about how you pick yourself up when you're down. It's how you help your teammate when he's down. Those are so important. Excuses are focused on a problem. Reasons are focused on a solution. All right? If you've got an excuse for everything, there's always a reason that you can control it and you can do something about it. Invariably, when I go out and I see people, and I see young people when they play, it's their attitude that really distinguishes themselves. Not just a guy that can hit a ball 500 feet or somebody that can run real fast. It's your overall attitude. Now, I'm going to tell you a name. Your parents probably have heard the name. I'm sure most of you haven't, because it goes a long way. It was a football coach. When I was in high school and I coached in college, I coached some football. And I was at a convention, and there was a coach by the name of Woody Hayes. And to you young people out here, you wouldn't have a clue who Woody Hayes was.
Ohio State.
Just at Ohio State, a great football coach, one of the best ever, had a problem. He was on the sideline, and the opposing team was running for a touchdown. His emotions got carried away, and he tackled a guy, and they got fired. They made a mistake. Today, they'd probably give him a bouquet of flowers. But, you know, he made a mistake. But I was at this convention when he was speaking, and he was talking about recruiting. And he said, when I go into a home to see a recruit, the first thing I do is I watch how that young man or that young lady treats his mother. Because I can't do anything in 2 hours a day. If he's 18 years old or 17 years old and he doesn't have respect for his mother, that's been a pretty good point in my whole career, thinking about young people. If you don't have respect for your parents, how can you have respect for yourself? and I see your parents are here today. I know they're out to watch you. They're here behind you, and that's something that's always stuck in my mind. The one thing that all the great players have is pride. Okay? I'm looking at this facility. This goes back in the 80s. We had, and I say we, Randy Bush, who played for me, who won 2 world championships with the Twins, who's now the assistant general manager for the Chicago Cubs. We had a Grand Slam USA in Elmwood, 18,000 square feet. When I walked in here, it reminded me of what we had, a little bit bigger. But what's the pride? Look how neat this is. Obviously, you have some pride when you walk in here to keep this facility the way it is. If you don't have pride in yourself, you certainly can't have pride in what you're trying to do. Let me give you an example. I went to Bradley University, Peoria, Illinois. You probably never heard of it, but if you have, we had pretty good sports at Bradley University. And I had a coach, they call him Scrap Iron. He was about this tall. And believe me, he was tough. But that's okay. There's nothing wrong with being tough. You've got to learn how to take criticism and how you can best use it. Now we had to, before we played, we had to come out and show our shoes to the coach. They had to be polished. Okay? He showed us how to put our uniform on, how to blouse our pants. We couldn't wear our pants down over our shoes. We had to have them up. We had good uniforms. Our field was immaculate. He was teaching us a little discipline. He was teaching us how to behave or how to act like a ball player. Today is different. We have individuals, and there's nothing wrong with it. Just remember, you can be different, but you can have respect and you can have pride in what you're doing. I was on the chair of the College World Series. Every year we'd go to Omaha and basically we'd run the tournament. This was back in the 80s. They told us when the players came into the stadium, onto the field, they needed to be fully dressed. In other words, in their uniform. Well, I'm ahead of the chair, and I'll never forget, Wichita State had a great team, great teams. They had a great relief pitcher at that time, one of the top pitchers, well, the top relief pitcher in the country. I won't mention his name. But he walks on the field and he had Joe's Bar t-shirt on. Didn't have his uniform, and I said, oh boy, I got to go up and tell him, put your uniform on. So I'm trying to think of how I'm going to be diplomatic. I don't want to go up, hey, get that uniform. So I said, Jamie, you got to put your uniform on. He looked at me and said, who in the blank are you? I said, it doesn't matter, I'm nobody, but I'm telling you, you got to have a little respect for our game, little respect for the World Series, all the 25,000 people that are in here. When you come out in this field, you're supposed to be dressed properly. Well, he grumbled. He eventually put his uniform on. But the point I'm getting across is, guys and ladies, have a little pride in yourself. Have a little pride in your team, in your facility here. You know, we used to play teams that come in, and you've seen the dugout. You guys have been in many dugouts, and I'll never forget. Guy's name, and you wouldn't know this, his name was Gordy Gillespie, one of the best coaches in America. He was from the Chicago area, coached football, basketball, baseball, NCAA. He'd come down and play. At the end of the game, his dugout was cleaner than ours. He had the players pick up all the cups, not spin them and just throw them on the ground. Had them pick up all the tape, all the whatever, okay? It was all part of his training, of his discipline, of what the program was all about. He had great success. Now, when my coach, today, you know, we're in different times. Discipline was the most important thing for all of us. He told us how bad we were on many occasions. And I've always thought we're at the University of Iowa, we blew a game, I made an error. We got the whole team in a building like this, and he went around. Todd, Buster, yeah, go to the next guy. And he got to me and he said, you don't get your butt down when you feel that ball. And I mean, he just ripped into us. Well, that's the game. You got to take a little criticism. But you know, how do you handle that? Do you hang your head? Do you come out? Do you not? You got to go after it. Baseball is a tough game. You know, I coached all sports, football, basketball, baseball. Not because I love baseball, but when I was in that third base coaching box, and the guy's throwing 95 miles an hour, and you can't hit it, you're on my team, and you're not hitting it, I can't call timeout. I can't put in a secret play. I can't put in a certain formation, okay? I can't throw the ball out of bounds to stop the clock. It's tough. So how do you react? This is an example. Do you remember the name? And there again, I'm too old for most of you. Ray Guy, Hall of Fame in the NFL, punter. Unbelievable punter in the NFL, played for Southern Miss. We're up to play Southern Miss in baseball. The coach was a great friend. We're talking before the game. Now, Ray was in football practice. They had spring practice. I said, is Ray going to pitch today? He said, well, if he gets done with football, probably. Well, I'm in a third base coaching box. We scored 2 runs the first inning. It's 2-zip. Well, they come up, they don't score. Next thing I hear somebody running. I look up and it's Ray Guy. He's got his helmet on, he's taking his helmet off, his shoulder pads off. He comes in, he pitched, he struck out 16. We won 2-1. But thank goodness he had a little bit longer at football practice. But here was a guy that had, I can't imagine you're out there playing football and you know what football is like today. And now you're going to come in and you're going to play baseball. He was that kind of an athlete. That kind of dedication, that kind of wanting to win. Let me give you a few other examples. You watch the Atlanta Braves. The manager, Brian Snitker, played for me in 1976 and 1977. After the 77 season, he wasn't drafted. I brought him to a tryout camp in Baton Rouge. The Atlanta Braves signed him. He's been with the Atlanta Braves since 1977. He's been a minor league manager, a rookie league manager, an A-ball, AAA. He was in the big leagues with Bobby Cox as the third base coach. And I'll never forget when Bobby Cox retired, they brought in a new manager. And of course, they let the manager bring in their own people. Brian called and he said, hey, Mace, they let me go. I'm still with the Braves, but I'm not with the big league club. What are you going to do? No, I love the game. I love the Braves. I'll go down and coach AAA. Well, now he's back in the big leagues. On his staff, his third base coach is Ron Washington from New Orleans. If you go on the internet, and you guys are lucky, there's so much information on the internet. If you can't learn it from your coaches here, you can learn just about anything on the internet. If you're an infielder, go look at Ron Washington infield drills. He and Randy Bush, that played for me, were with the Twins at that time. In the off season, they'd come and work out. I'd see them come in. We had an indoor batting cage. They'd throw to each other, they'd hit. I'd see them running around the lakefront arena. I don't know how many times. Then they'd go in the weight room. And both Randy and Ron used to tell me every spring training, I didn't have a guaranteed contract. I had to make the team. I had to be one of the 25 that they were going to keep. Now, I can imagine the pressure, but they worked relentlessly. And Randy tells a story, the year they won it in '87, Wash was on the team and Wash got traded mid-year. Now, he could have been pretty down. You know, if you win the World Series back then, today financially it's a lot more money, but back then it was a lot of money. Never complained, never said a word, went out and played, missed out on a championship ring, missed out on the big check. The point being, the guy's a winner. He's a winner because he's positive, he's got an attitude, he's not going to quit, he's not going to give up. And if you see him today, his players love him because it's a tough game. They go out there and they've got to work hard every day and they have to perform. One other guy, and if you can Google him, he was a 6-time All-Star by the name of Jim Sundberg. He's a catcher, Texas Rangers. I coached in the summer in Peoria, Illinois. That league was probably better, not probably, it was what the Cape Cod League is today for you young people to go play. I lost the catcher. I didn't have a catcher. I get a call, and Jim says, "You probably don't remember me, Coach. I'm playing at the University of Iowa. The Rangers drafted me, and they're not offering me what I want. I want to go back to school. I was wondering if you needed a catcher." Do I need a catcher? Yes. We're living in a dormitory, Bradley University. He said, "Coach, there's one problem. I'm married and I have a young baby." Well, we're on one floor. Floor on top it's summer. There's nobody there, and I asked the people, could he live upstairs? He lived in a little dorm room where he had bunk beds, a little desk, took the bunk beds off, had a little baby, and back then you had to work if you went to a summer league. I had one job. He worked for a farmer who was clearing property all day. I'd see him get up in the morning, 6:30, he's out, come in at 2 o'clock, all dusty and dirty and sweaty, and he was a catcher. He'd catch that night. He hit .330 with 10 home runs, 33 RBIs, threw everybody out, got drafted after a senior year and played, 14 years in the big leagues. The point being, here he is, his wife's there, they're in a little room with the baby, he's working, he's playing ball, he had a great year. It's with the dedication, which you have to do if you want to get better. You got to be positive. What do you look for when you go out? You're going to look for a school. You're going to look for somewhere where you want to go. Look at the program. Look how the coaches are. Talk to people. Talk to the players. What's the facility like? How many players have played in that program that have gone on? The thing that I'll tell all of you is not everybody can play at LSU, not everybody can play at Tulane, not everybody can play at UNO. There's so many places. Coach Todd will tell you, Division II, Division III, NAIA. If you love the game of baseball, there is a place that you can go play according to your ability. Okay? So, if I can leave you with a few thoughts, have your goal, have a positive attitude, and I use the bathroom, and one at the top is Have a positive attitude. How do you treat your parents? How do you treat people around you? Today, everything, when you're at a school, your coaches today, community service, team chemistry, it's so important. And all of you have the ability, or you wouldn't be playing for coach, but that ability of how you use it is up to only one person, and that's yourself. So when you walk out between those lines, your goal is to get better every day. How do you get better every day? You've got to work. You've got to be in that cage. If you're a hitter, you got to hit. I'm always amazed at watching golf on television. You got Tiger Woods goes out and he shoots the 66, but today his sand play wasn't as good. He's on the practice tee after he played 18 holes, hitting 10 buckets of balls out of the sand trap. Well, if you go out there today and you strike out twice, you strike out 3 times, you go in a cage and take a little extra hits? Do you work on maybe something that you're doing wrong? There's no secret to why these players are just a little bit better. It's their attitude, their motivation, set a goal, and the pride that they have in themselves. I enjoy coming to see people like yourself and you young people today. You're the people that we're counting on. Okay? Whether it's baseball, whatever it might be, you are the people that are going to make this thing go. I appreciate coming out. Thank you. If anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to answer. Thank you.
All right, so let me see this real quick. Watch your feet, coach.
So on behalf of the NOLA baseball program, and when I'm listening to Coach Mace talk, I think to myself, I'm like, the NOLA way up there, lines 8, 9, and 10 mean a lot. And what those lines really mean is that, the wins and losses are going to come and go, and the game of life is where we push to win. And as I'm listening to Coach talk, I kind of think to myself, a lot of those years back in the day, they get foggy, because to be all the things that Coach said, you've got to kind of push forward, and you're going to take a lot of losses in baseball. It's now 7.6 out of 10 times you fail, and you're making millions of dollars in the big leagues. I mean, think about that. You're hitting 230, you hit 20 home runs, and you're making $50 million a year.
Strike out 200 times.
Strike out 200 or 300 times. Coach Maestri created something really cool. It was the Busch Challenge Winn-Dixie Showdown. And I was lucky enough to play in that 3 years. And that's where we went to the Superdome, and LSU, Tulane, UNO would play Florida, Florida State, Miami, or Stanford, UCLA,
Fullerton.
Cal State, Fullerton. It was probably some of the coolest times that I can ever remember. But, tonight, Coach, we'd like to present you with something. It's our own NOLA Baseball Hall of Fame picture.
Thank you.
Coach, that's going to go up there on the top of the wall up there where we have our Hall of Famers.
That's awesome.
And it'll be up there for you. And I got one more thing for you. I can't think of a better 21 to be able to walk in and tell you that's yours. That's the NOLA Baseball Hall of Fame. And, the things that you've done for so many kids, growing up with your son, John, Brother Martin, historian.
He's a U.S. attorney.
He's now pretty big time. Coach Maestri was a great man, but he also commanded his players to be respectful. And I think you guys know that at the end of the day, Coach, we want our kids to be great sons, to be great fathers one day, to be great husbands, be respected in the community, but we want them to respect every female that they ever come in contact with, and that's the NOLA way. And so tonight, it's fitted to tell you that, for all of the things that you've done for so many people, We appreciate you coming out here tonight, and God bless you.
Thank you. Let me just say this is very nice, and I really appreciate it. I want to congratulate the Hall of Fame winners. I serve on the Hall of Fame committee for the American Baseball Coaches Association. So I know how important, what a great honor it is for you young people to be inducted into his Hall of Fame. Last year we missed the meeting. This year we're going to be in Chicago. I am very fortunate to be in the Baseball Coaches Hall of Fame. But I just want to congratulate all you young people that are going in the Hall of Fame. It's really an honor, and I thank you. God bless.
Pick on my wife.
Yeah.
Let me take a picture. Hold on. I would show my wife. She won't believe it.
He does know how to work an iPhone, it looks like.
Look at that. You know, you hear people that are mechanically inclined. I'm mechanically declined. But thank you again, and God bless everybody, and have a good evening. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to walk Coach Maestri out. We're going to take a 5-minute breather, 5-minute break for just a second, and then we'll get back in here and we'll start the Hall of Fame, and then I'll introduce Bo.
That's right, you supposedly had something.
Yes, insane. Not here, from your home.
I was looking at that Zephyr thing.
What? Zephyr, let
A
me see.
picture of the inaugural feature.
Where?
On the inside of the stairs over there. On the other side of the stairs, in that little room.
Mom.
Go to Trev.
Who did the babies?
His last name's Tweedy, T-W-E-E-D-Y. He did all of like Zach and Trev's like senior stuff. He's really good.
All right, if we can start getting back to your tables, please. If we can start getting back to your tables.
Yes, boss.
Oh, big time.
Hey, Trevor, here.
Thank you.
Hey, JD with all the cake.
JD's got it. He's rolling it fast, man.
JD stack rolling.
He's right here. Look, the camera's behind him. Right there, Craig. Right there. That thing that looks like a microphone.
Start taking our seats again, guys. Let's go. Let's go. Get out of here.
You see, he's leaning that way. That's what we tell him in.
It's like,
Oh, you and Grayson are up next. All right, we got 1 minute, guys. 1 minute if you guys can start getting back to the table so we can get started. 1 minute to get back, please.
He said, I'll be the first 7th grader. They got nobody.
All right, guys, if we can go ahead and take our seats. If we can go ahead and take our seats, please. All right, so real quick, you know, I don't know if you guys understand how cool it is. Before Coach Bergman, there was Coach Maestri. Before those guys, he was talking about a guy from Wichita State named Gene Stevenson. And you talk about guys like Augie Garrido and different coaches, but I think Coach Maestri was one of the founding fathers of baseball and family. And I think his biggest, I think the biggest thing I learned from him was discipline, to make sure that, you know, for me as a young guy, I didn't have a father. So I had to have 5 figures, and I'll never forget those guys. One is JT Curtis, and JT beat me to death with his ring. So any Curtis guys, Wayne Parent, he'll tell you, I got beat up with the ring so many times that it's not even funny. The second would be James McCready. That was my best friend, Stephen McCready's father. He was an OB, and he allowed me to live with him from the time I was in 9th grade all the way through my senior season. So they paid for my food, they bought my clothes, they did everything for me. And Stephen truly is a lifesaver. He's my best friend. He'll always be my best friend. Jack Parker is a union planner banker, and Jack was inspirational in teaching me how to have conduct. You know, he's like, you just got to be a good person. I never forget that. Be a good person. Corky Barris, another one, got my opportunity to go to Spring Hill. He believed in me enough to give me a $48,000 scholarship from a guy that lived in Tanglewood on the West Bank, and my mom made less than $5,000 a year. You know, when I go through those people, the last one is Mr. Bill Duncan. You guys might know Billy Duncan, Tulane quarterback. You know, Billy taught me the art of business. He basically said, if you could put yourself in a situation where you can help others, and he said, you should be a salesman. And I said, well, I'm not really good at selling. He said, no, it's storytelling. And I said, well, I'm not really good at storytelling. At the end of the day, I think that what we've created here at NOLA Baseball is exactly that up there. And, you know, I look back and think to myself, talking to Zach today, I'm lucky to have Trevor here. I'm lucky to have my youngest son here, Brody, and my beautiful wife, Stacy, who allows me to leave every single weekend for 40 to 50 weeks, it seems like, out of the year. And I say that, she's like, my pleasure. You know, when we stopped NOLA Baseball, I didn't pay attention to baseball the last 2.5 years. But I did get a text from Brent Williams, which probably changed my life. I got a text from Dylan Gillies, which probably changed my life. And those two guys, single-handedly, I look at their text every day. If not every day, I look at it every other day. And Dylan's story is so great, and we'll share that in a second. But as I look around and I see Cam Sibley, he was playing at on the West Bank for a team, and I saw his dad, Robbie, and I said, dude, that dude can play. And before you know it, we get him to Panola. I think we paid for a little bit of money there. Got him from Panola to Northwestern State, where he's the starting shortstop at Northwestern State University. You know, the stories, the faces I see, man, I don't forget anything. I remember the numbers. I look around and I see people like Josh right there, and I'm like, dude, I don't know his name. It's 66, though. I know that. And I look at Lito, and I know it's 15. I don't know if the dad's name is Matt or Josh. I don't know which one. I look back and I see 62 and 5 in the back corner. I see 11 over there. You know, and I think that what we just did this weekend was probably as good of a send out as we could possibly do with the 15U Monsters, who, if you don't know, went 7-1 and put themselves in a national contention in 284 teams. And if you don't understand how hard that is to play 8 ball games in the course of 5 days and beat all of the top flight people, the Canes, 5-star, Cincy Flames, and then we lose to the national champions today. They won. We lose to those guys 11-0. But then they went on to beat the next team 24-0. They beat the next team 17-14, and then they just won the championship. And so if we had to lose to somebody, it was going to be the one that I thought could take, you know, and put a dagger in us, because these guys were not going to stop. They weren't going to quit. I'm lucky enough today, Bo, if you step up here real quick and tell them a little bit about you, and then we'll have Grayson, and then we'll start us off real quick. But Bo, if you take a look at our apparel, we're excited to be partnered with Cade and Bo. This is the nicest gear in baseball. And let him walk you through a little bit of steps here and tell you a little bit about himself.
How everybody doing tonight? Good to be here, man. Happy that you guys have me. I work for Wilson Sporting Goods. I'm a territory specialist. I cover Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and the Panhandle of Florida. Just an honor to be a partner with NOLA Baseball, one of the premier organizations around the country, definitely running the Southwest. So Wilson, we're like you said, we're pretty much the top dog right now. We have a one-stop shop. We have Wilson, Louisville Slugger, Evo Shield, and DeMarini, and all of our products are on a major league field every day. 7 out of the 8 teams that was in the College World Series this year were Wilson teams. Mississippi State won a championship. They were swinging our bats, the Goods, Voodoo, everybody in the lineup. You guys, being a part of NOLA Baseball and us partnering with NOLA, you guys can get a discount at any time on a perpetual store for equipment, gloves, bats. It's all a part of the partnership. Any time of the year, if you need new batting gloves, new helmet, you can just go, Todd can give you the code. You guys can go in there and order whatever you like. You guys should be really thankful to be a part of an organization like this, like NOLA Baseball. He ran off his resume 7 first rounders, man. To have 7 guys going in first round, that's saying a lot. So you guys are in a really good place, and just keep working hard, like Maestri said.
So, like I said, he takes the time out to come tonight, and we're there. We're starting to use the Wilson apparel, and I can tell you this. I want to tell you and Kate, I don't think we've ever had a better set of combination of uniforms. I mean, I think, Kate, if you're out there, Wayne Parent's team has the best looking uniforms that I've ever seen in my life, and it just really looks cool to have the logo and to be partnered with you guys. So we're excited, and we want to thank you again.
Definitely.
All right.
Also, this fall, I'll be coming back down to do a demo day for the whole organization, and
right.
You guys will be able to swing all the bats that's getting ready to drop here in October. Have a bunch of gloves out, and you guys will be able to see it all.
Thank you once again. All right, Grayson, it's your time. Ronnie Rance is a really good friend of mine. He played at LSU, and his name is Jumbo. And Jumbo because he's a large man. He's a really large man. And Ronnie Rance is the president of the Louisiana Sports Foundation. And he called me and said, man, let's make this really nice. Let's do it special. So Grayson's going to talk to you a little bit about what's on your table and some of the auction items here. So give it up for Grayson.
So I'm going to try and not be awkward with this public speaking. But again, I'm with the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. And so we partnered with NOLA Baseball Club, and I am so honored to be here with you guys. But for the auction, I put QR codes, and I believe there's a sheet with the actual link on everyone's table. So if you scan the code, it'll take you to the auction platform. That's how you bid. But aside from that, other than what's on the table, there's tons of other things on the online platform. So it all benefits the NOLA Baseball Club and also the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. And that's really all I got. But scan the code, bid, and help make money for y'all's organization. Thank you.
So thank you very much. So the auction, for you guys to know what it's used for, it's for the buses outside. And I know Wayne has used the bus, and Gary and Lance and the rest of the coaching staff. That bus takes a lot of money to keep functioning. And this weekend alone, we spent right around $1,800 just in gas. A tire, we changed tires before we left. That's $700 each. The oil change is $550. We're looking to renovate the bus on the interior. We're looking to put the new Evo Shield partnership on the bus. So all of those things being said, that's what we're doing this fundraiser for. And I don't know if anybody realized that, but the upkeep, John Chevalier is unreal. He keeps both of those buses outside, functioning and ready to go. And each time we take the bus, or we'll donate the bus, and something happens, we have to just fix it. We don't ask the person that used the bus to fix it. So there's a lot of really cool items here for you guys to bid on. and I hope that you participate in it. I think it's really neat and unique to have Ronnie Rance and Grayson come here. So, well, without further ado, I want to go ahead and start with this whole process. I'm going to start with Cam Sibley. Cam Sibley, out of Dutchtown High School, is probably the most electric shortstop we've ever had. Like, in all of the shortstops. You know, Mason Jacobs this weekend was pretty good. And I know I'm looking at Gary back there when Gary and Steele and Canale are sitting there, but the guy was really special. But if you see the video and you see Cam Sibley at the very end, it's really just a testament to that this guy went to Panola, put up stats there, and found himself at Northwestern State to play for what I think is a really good friend of mine, Bobby Barbier. You know, when I look at Robbie over there, I think, and looking at Miss Sibley, I know that I pay attention to those guys, and probably the most difficult thing that when I didn't pay attention to baseball was just what they were doing, because I really shut it all down. And when I came back, just excited to see the energy and effort. So I want to present this to you, Cam, as one of our 2021 recipients, Hall of Fame. And not only that, but we're going to take the old number 88, which I thought was cool because Cam was like a wide receiver, and we'll hand that to you. So Cam, just like Coach Maestri, we're going to hang that up there in the Wall of Fame. And if you want to take pictures of it afterward, we'll do that. But congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Can't be more excited.
Thank you. I don't have nothing to say.
All right. So you take this with you. You leave the picture over there on that table. Guys, if you haven't seen Northwestern State play, they had Lenny Kunert, which was a player that played for us. Cam Sibley is one of the most electric guys that I've seen at shortstop. The plays that he makes are just unreal. Next up is going to be Dylan Gillies. So this might, I hope it doesn't get me choked up, but Dylan played for the Vipers. And he threw his helmet, maybe threw his bat about 100 yards out the stadium. And I remember talking to my coach saying, dude, I want that dude. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I remember talking to Gary, and Gary was like, dude, you can't take that dude, man. He's gonna kill everybody. And I'm like, well, if I can taper that energy and turn him into what I think would be the NOLA way, it'll all be worth it. He shared a text with me, and he said, Coach, it took me 7 years to get out of school. He said, I never stopped because you told me not to stop. And I think that without sharing a lot of the text, it just told me that he was willing to be persistent. He wasn't going to give up. He wasn't going to go out and just be another guy that just couldn't get through school. Since then, I see that he's got a beautiful girlfriend, and if I'm not mistaken, you have a child. And I see pictures of him treating his wife exactly the way, or his girlfriend, the way that we always had said. You put her first. And Inky Johnson had a great quote this past couple of weeks. He talked about the queen and chess. And he said, even though the king is the leader, the queen's the only one that can move amongst the board and do anything that she wants. And, you know, I look at your parents right here and I think to myself, you know, 29, man, that guy was a part of something really special. And I love you, dude, and want to present you with this. And I think you'll remember this one. The old Power Showcase, man. I love it. The Power Showcase. Dylan Gillies. So, I'll tell you this. This is how I used to talk to Dylan. I used to kind of get like this and just talk to him because I was a little afraid of him. But now he tells me that he's a sheriff, a policeman. He's doing the right thing. He wants to be a DEA agent. And, you know, thinking about it, if it took him 7 years to get out of school, then who's going to be that next person that just doesn't give up? So put your hands together for Dylan Gillies. All right. I love these guys, man. It's really special. And look, he did go to the Power Showcase and hit 2 balls out, I believe. I think it was 2 he hit out, and one was about 400 and probably.
Swimming pool.
Yeah, he hit one pretty deep. So those guys that get those shirts, man, it'd be cool if you stuck them on, Cam. I know you're pretty slicey and dicey, but I think it's going to fit you. You know, the next guy, man, is wearing my football jersey. And, you know, Brent Williams was one of the best third basemen that I'd seen in my life. As a freshman, he was outstanding. As a sophomore, he was okay. As a junior, he was good. And as a senior, I think that he got to a point where he was kind of deciding if he was going to play the game or not. But I signed him to Jackson State. He goes from Jackson State to Baton Rouge Community College. He gets hurt. He walks away from the game. And he calls me and says, Coach, I want to come back and play. And I said, B? I said, it's over, man. I said, just let it go. And he said, nope. So I called him one morning. And I called him at 5 in the morning. And he's all sleepy. And I'm like, dude, the only people that sleep at this time of the day are broke people. The very next day, he wakes up and he calls me, and he's wide awake, and he says, Coach, I'm never going to be broke again. And we made a phone call to Nunez. Last year, he hits his first home run against LSU Eunice, and this year, he's battling, if not to be the starting third baseman, he'll be the DH. I've talked to Coach Powell. More importantly, every holiday during my time, my most difficult times, Brent would be the first guy that would text me my birthday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. It was always Brent, first one out the chute. And that's even when he was sleepy. So, just so you guys know that these guys mean everything to me. They mean everything to me, and my wife letting me do this means everything to me. So, I want to welcome my main man, Brent Williams, to the Hall of Fame.
Thank everybody for coming out tonight.
All right. So, we've got a couple of guys that couldn't make it tonight. Let everybody see this at home. Brent Diaz. Brent Diaz was a guy that played with us for a couple of weeks. I signed him to Louisiana Tech, and he was projected to be one of the top 10 catchers. And I remember calling up LSU, talking to those guys. I remember calling up Tulane, and they said they had better catchers. Brent went on to Louisiana Tech, and he's my friend, my son's very best friend. And Zachary will be in his wedding in January. Brent Diaz is probably as close to a son that I have that's not my biological son. And he means a lot to me. But he also means a lot to Zachary and Brody and all of my family. And Brent's right now playing at the Biloxi Shuckers, and it's a really cool time for him to kind of figure out his life as he's going to get married, kind of what Coach Maestri talked about with Coach Sundberg and those guys having, you know, a marriage and a baby. So Brent Diaz. Colby McWilliams. So Colby McWilliams couldn't be here tonight, and Colby's story is great. Spring Hill College, finishes up at Spring Hill, and now he's going to Mississippi College. And not only is Colby in the Hall of Fame, but his mom and dad, Greer and Kelly McWilliams, took the admin piece over for 4 years and basically saved my sanity. Somewhat like what Lance and Catherine Galloway are doing right now. And they don't know how much of a savior that they are. She's done so many things, and she's been so important. And I don't know if she truly understands, Lance is back there, how much I appreciate both of them. And, you know, the resurgence of NOLA baseball will be a direct reflect of people like Catherine and Lance Galloway. So I want you to put your hands together for those guys. Colby McWilliams also 4.1. and 34 on the ACT, and he kept taking the ACT over and over and over from a 31 to get all the way up. He wanted to be perfect. That's Colby Williams. That's the NOLA way. Billy, you ready to sing? Okay. So, you know, I take a look at his brother up in the left-hand corner, Zach Buster, and Zach was probably the main reason why we created NOLA Baseball. I told you already that he was the 11th man on a 10-man team. And Zach asked me, how am I going to do that, Dad? And I said, you've got to be the smartest baseball player on the field. You've got to be the best base runner. You got to be the best infield instructor. You got to be the best teammate. And I said, be the best bunter in the United States, and you'll find a place. You'll find a place to play. So coming out of high school, he had several chances. He ends up signing at Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech had a new coach, Greg Goff, walked in and said, we're not going to take your scholarship. He had a 25% scholarship that I got to thank Thomas Semino and Wade Semino for giving him a chance at Louisiana Tech. Zach goes on to VRCC and then ends up being at LSU and the bullpen manager for those guys, as Coach Kane had wanted him to come on and be a walk-on. And I remember Nolan Kane telling me that, and I said, dude, you're nuts. I said, Zach can't play at LSU, and he said, I need him to walk on. So the story with Zach is every morning at 1:30, he would call me. And those of you that know me, I go to bed at 1:30 and wake up at 4:45. And I was always curious to why Zach would do that. And he would say, well, Cabrera and Duplantis and Watson, they all want balls, and then Peterson wanted me to catch him. But he then finally shared it with me, and he said, Dad, every morning at 1:30, I would go to Coach Maneri's locker, and I'd take his shoes out. And I would clean his shoes perfectly, so that when he walked onto the field the next day, he had the best shoes that a coach could have in America. And I thought about what Coach Maestri said when he said, look the part, be clean. And I thought, man, how selfless could Zach Buster be by doing Coach Maneri's shoes every night to make sure that he walked onto the field. And Zach said, Dad, that's the only way I could make it to Omaha. And I wanted to get to Omaha so bad that I wanted the day that Coach Maneri walked on to Omaha for him to have the best shoes every day that I was there. I think that's really important because in today's world, I've told you guys, I want you to live right side up in an upside down world. And although this world is really hard and it's tough and no one's going to give you anything and everybody's angry, I think the NOLA Baseball Club is different. And I think it's different because of people like you. The last inductee for me means a lot because I look at the image of me, and that was me at his age. He had opportunities to play Division I baseball, and he turned them all down. He said, Dad, I'm done. And he walked away and he went to school, and somewhat like you, Dylan, he went to class. And he went to the class for about 8 or 9 semesters. And one day he calls me and says, hey, this may not be for me. And I held on to the fact that I was like, Trev, just somehow, some way get through it. And he said, Dad, I am not going to be you, just let me be me. And I said, okay. He opened up this facility. I've never seen a dude that takes care of this better than what he does. If you talk to the players that played with Trev, he probably had as good a hands and his at-bat approaches, his ability to be every position on the field he could play. And I think that what Trevor Buster means to NOLA Baseball is the epitome of a guy that went out there and gave everything that he's got, and he didn't have to get a college scholarship. He didn't have to graduate from college. He's just exactly what we want in the NOLA way. So give it up for my main man, Trevor Buster. Now, if you look at Trev, that dude I thought was really pretty. And I do think that if you look at, I go back and watch some of his videos because I've seen a guy that was so intense and a guy that just kind of would always have a chip on his shoulder. But this guy right here not only wore one jersey, he wore every jersey that you can imagine in the club. And so we're bringing him in, number 11, Trevor Buster.
Appreciate y'all. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet here, but you know, it's no surprise that the Golden Child was still brought up in an introduction of me into the Hall of Fame. So, but you know, this is a long time coming, but yeah, this is a new Golden Child now. But so we're here, and you know, whenever I first came over to NOLA baseball, I came from a team that was nothing but winners. We won more championships than we didn't finish inside the top 3. So whenever I came over to NOLA, like my dad said here, they weren't very good. We would lose a lot, and it would just annoy me every time. So I asked him one day, I said, Dad, why can't we get any better players? He's like, well, I don't ask people to play for us, they come and ask me. And so I didn't really get that at first. You know, I was really confused. I was with teams that would always need to ask the best players to come play, put a team together, and go win some championships. Well, I get over here, we're losing a lot, and I was just like, I'm done with this. I was like, I'm not a loser. I was like, I can't lose. This is not fun, you know. And so I would go home for a weekend, and I wouldn't go play. And so the next weekend I'd come back, and that's the story. This is the story behind why I had so many jersey numbers. I would come back the next weekend, he'd given my number to somebody else, so I would grab the jersey out of the garage, put it on, go to the game, show up and play, and he wouldn't even know. He would have to pencil me in the lineup late. So, you know, it taught me a lot, though. It taught me a lot. It humbled me real quick, and it made me appreciate the little things about baseball, like the teammates, the coaches, you know, even my teammates' parents. There was times where they would basically be my third parents. We would be in there, we'd hang out, and I mean, it was awesome though. It was awesome, and you know, I think I needed that a lot to bring me back down to earth, and it did. And now it's great to see what the 15-year-old guys did, going 7-0 at first, losing to the champions. I mean, that's huge for NOLA baseball, and that's huge for all you younger guys. So thank you guys, and that's it, man.
All right, if I could get Wayne Parent. Wayne, can you come up here real quick? Wayne and I went to high school together, and Wayne is the head coach of the NOLA Royals. So I'm going to let Wayne go ahead and say a couple things here and see if he can handle it. He's never been able to do it, Julie, but we'll put him on the spot.
All right, so there is a reason why when we do win, I have one of the other coaches give out the rings and say names, because I don't like this. But I can say, so the championship that you did, we went to Kentucky, and we played, so we are a double-A team, but we've been beating double-A teams every time we play them. So I made us move up to AAA on our own. We didn't get moved up, but I wanted to play better competition, and I thought our guys were getting better and better. So we did that, and we went to Kentucky. There was only 12 teams in the thing, but like half of them were major teams. So same thing, we went all the way in, and we lost to a major team, 7-3. And anyway, so we came in third, and we lost to the champion, kind of same thing. So they were all like 6 major teams left, and we competed with them guys, and we were, anyway, but you want me to introduce?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to introduce, they're not all here, but I'll introduce a few of them. Ethan Nicholson. You want him to come up? Come on. Come on. Come on. Come here.
Walk them up.
Caleb Williams. Craig Connor. Chase Parent. Jacob Robert. Darius Dunmiles. and AJ Mercado. So these are your 11-year-old Royals, and we're going to 12 next year.
Yes, player Lito. Where's Lito? Who? Oh.
And
Yes, player.
Ryan Lito played with us in Kentucky. Where's Ryan?
You can't have it though. You can't have it.
All right, so, you know, Wayne, when the club went down, we only had 11 players, and Wayne kept this thing afloat. And I always thank him, not only because we went to high school together, we were teammates, but I thank him for being a great person and a great husband. And you can Google Wayne, and you're never going to find anything other than a hard-working guy. So, NBC Royals, go ahead and take a seat. I'm going to call the NOLA Gators up here. Just walk up here if you're a NOLA Gator. Walk on up here. And a Mighty Monster. Walk up here if you're a NOLA Gator and a Mighty Monster. Stay up here, big guy. So I'm going to do it a little different. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. I'm going to see if they can really handle this. Because all year we talked about how to handle, like, talking in front of people and figuring this thing out. So, here we go. Little technical difficulties. Okay.
Pass the mic. Introduce yourself, your name, and your number. You gotta say it louder.
I'm Austin McLean, and my number is number 9. Gage Spells, and my number is 27. I'm Ryan Detail, my name's number. My number is number 15. Hi, I'm Dave Ratcliffe, and my number is 23. Hey, I'm Tanner Wilson, and my number is 3. I'm Douglas Zemlick, and my number is 62. My name is Brody Bork, and I'm number 6. My name is Parker Wall, and I'm number 20. My name is Hayden Banks, and I'm 22. My name is Jake Rupert, and I'm number 11. My name is J.D. Zemlick, and my number is 5.
Gary Canale and Lance Galloway, come on up here.
You going first?
This guy can talk. We're gonna let him go.
Lance called me. We got together about 4 or 5 times at OTC in Hammond, and we were meeting the cages. Say, hey man, I guess we'll see you at the championship. In case y'all don't know, Lance had a little team out in Livingston, and I had a little team here locally. And we both would come with a roster every week that had multiple different players. Kind of hard to figure out, you know, what Lance was doing. He was kind of hard trying to figure me out. But at the end of the day, we seemed to somehow beat each other in the championship. He got the best of me, but we had one that we never did finish, and maybe one day we'll finish it because of the weather. It was a pretty great game. But going into our kids being freshmen in high school, it's difficult to try to figure out what they're going to do during the summer. And if y'all don't know, a lot of changes go on, you know, with school ball and multiple teams getting together and trying to make one team. And that was a goal that me and Lance came to, and we come together and put this team together. In case y'all don't know, we have probably had about 40 wins, 2 losses, and 1 tie. On the Todd madness of the coaching that he does, we'll show up on the weekends with about 25 kids and try to figure out how we're going to win this game. And lo and behold, after about the 3rd or 4th go at it, we figured it out. And we played pretty competitive with everybody that we was up against. he said it. We played 7 games, lost 8th game, we went perfect game, and it was an amazing run. I tell the kids the games that I remember the most is the ones we lose. Those are the ones that eat at me. Back in high school was the same for me. I still think about the games that I lost pitching. I still think about the games that I lost as a young man playing. You know, those games bother me. I have a lot of championships. I got a drawer full of them. My son's been very fortunate to be on great teams all his career. And playing with Lance and Todd this summer was probably one of the greatest teams we've ever played on. And it's amazing how fast we came together overnight. And it wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for NOLA baseball, because there's a lot of things that you don't know that go on. I don't know how he does it. I don't know if he's got a twin or some clone that helps him. But I know Miss Kathy and Lance done a lot for him. Just probably more than y'all would ever know. Going on these trips to let your kid go. If y'all don't know, you basically let your 14, 15-year-old son go to Atlanta on his own for the first time. Second time, third time. And it was almost to a point to where it was like, all right, go ahead, just go. You know, I don't care. Just go and take care of my boy. And this was an amazing run. I can't thank Todd, Lance, Miss Kathy, and Ian. I don't want to forget him for everything they've done for me personally and for the kids that I brought along in this program. And that's about all I got. Appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Yeah, I'm a little different than Todd. I'm not afraid to call anybody, and you know that I believe that's he kind of said it best this weekend. It takes a cast, it takes a village, it takes a whole team, different skill sets, different mindsets, the whole 9 yards. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and how I ended up here at NOLA baseball. I did have a very talented group. You know, we did knock heads a good bit, and we don't need to talk about the wins and losses back then. I mean, nobody
Still about.
But that all being said, you know, I knew I had a cast of ball players at 14 when, you know, they're heading into their 9th grade year. Some of them, mine was heading into 8th that year. I had some, you know, the May babies, you know, the guys that were going to school, going to graduate at 17, and all this stuff. And a couple of them were here tonight, gave me a call and said, hey, you know, we're heading into 9th grade. We need to get ready this fall. And to make a real long story short, I'm like, no, I'm done. You know, I'm done coaching. I'm watching my kid play. He's had 2 years without me, and they're like, Coach, come on, just a couple forms. I'm like, okay, let's do 2 or 3. Let's see where it works. Well, those that know me know I believe in a very higher power. God leads everything I do. And I'm like, all right, God, you want to do it? Let's do it your way. And so I get these guys out there, and we play our 8 tournaments like I told them. And we won a lot of ball games. That spring was their COVID year. COVID hits, shuts these guys down. A lot of my boys lose their 9th grade year. As soon as they shut the school down, phone rings again. Hey, let's do it again. That's when we got together with Gary and knocked heads for about the last 3 weeks of their 14U year, and we just keep it rolling right into 15. Little did I know, God had a different plan for me, because I'm praying, you know, what am I going to do with these talented kids? Literally, what am I going to do with them? I'm a millwright. I make power and I make steam. I don't make waves into college. You know, God put someone in my path. So I get a call from a buddy of mine, Nick Studdard, and he says, hey, there's this guy. We used to play with him. Yeah, he's a handful, but he really runs a good show. You need to give him a call. So I did. I called him. You know, he tells me about this team he has. You know, he's got the best 2024 team around. I'm like, all right, I'll bring my country boys down to see it. So I run roll him. He turns around and brings in a kid from Arizona. I still beat him, but it was really close. You know, but that second weekend, you know, he kind of felt me out the first weekend. The second weekend, I'm watching him work down at Nickel State, and I knew that he was in my path for a reason. I knew he had really just developed everything I brought to him. That he saw every kid that was on that field. He saw every parent that was in the stands. He saw every shoe that was untied. He didn't miss a beat. He didn't miss anything. He was telling me things I missed just to prove to me that he didn't miss anything. And you know, I knew I was going to have a bunch of kids going to 5A schools that were going to get dominated by a certain organization that wasn't going to fulfill their need. And the rest of these kids are going to get filled one way or the other. And this guy made it happen. This guy's going to make it happen. And I still feel like he needed me a little bit in his life. And I think that's the beauty of the way God works. You know, he's going to give everyone an opportunity to succeed in his time. Moving forward, you know, I can't wait to see what this thing turns into. You know, I'm getting chills. I was back there crying when he's talking about my wife, like a baby. She said, kicking me, you know, stop, you're a baby. But and that's, you know, that's the other thing. That lady right there, she does more for all of us than I can even express in words. Like the predecessor before her, she kept us together when we were really trying to fall apart. And anyway, thank you, Kathy. You know, give my wife a hand. Finally, yeah, 7-1 at the national level. Now, I told these boys, and I'm going to call them up here. There's a few of them here. You know, our season ain't quite over yet. As a matter of fact, we're leaving here shortly. We're going to play a couple more ball games with our little brothers. But 7-1. You know, I told Todd, I said, you know, this is the first brick. You know, we laid it down. You know, we're building a castle, and I stopped that immediately. And, you know, it resonated with the kids. I said, you know, monsters don't live in a castle. They live in a dungeon. We're building a brand new dungeon for you guys. Guys, if you can come back, all you guys that did it before us, you guys can be proud to see what we're going to build here. And, you know, a couple of these guys are going to end up on this wall eventually with you. That being said, we call him up. Little man, Logan Coley. Phil Dan. Austin Canoli. Trevor Bennett. Jacob Galloway. My main man, Gavin Steele. These guys right here finished in the top 16 in the nation. Give my hand.
You know, I look at these guys and I think this is 15-year-old baseball. This is unreal. And the talent level that's sitting right here and the 23 guys that we brought are, I was telling Trev and this is just a different breed of baseball. These guys are just different. If you look at them, one for one, I mean, you can see that these guys are just different. And I'll never forget what these guys did. In fact, I was talking to Dylan Gillies, who created the bricks. He was a part of the foundation that created it, that started it back in the day when we were the NOLA Gators. And, you know, it's really cool. Dylan graduated in 2013 from St. Charles Catholic. And I look back and I see his beautiful mother and his father, Steve. And I always think to myself as I look at Brent and his family, and I look at Robbie and his family, and I look around here and I think, man, how lucky can I be to have a chance to be a little small part of these lives? I mean, you know, he talks about somebody had a plan. Well, these plans are put in front of us, and You just never know when they're coming. So I want to tell these guys right here how much they meant to me, and be watching these guys, because there's several of these guys that can have a chance to play really big time baseball. One more time, the Nola Monster 15 minutes. Jamie B, go ahead and release. Go ahead and release. Jamie B, I need you and all the rest, Billy Cure, and all the rest of the high school players, come up here real quick. All the rest of the high school guys that are here, Jamie, come on up here. Ashton, come on up here. Darian, come on up here. I'm looking for whoever's here that's a high school guy. Okay. So Billy Cure is going to say hello here. Jamie B. All these guys right here. I got Billy Cure who will take over. We got 4.
All right, so this year was a little bit different for us in the high school model of 17 and 18. So we really had a bunch of guys come in like Jamie this year with Ashton from the west side of the state and bring some really, really talented 17 and 18-year-olds into the group. We had the chance to go on to WWBA mid-June with a group of guys, 3 of them being right there. Ashton couldn't make it on that trip, but I don't think Todd really expected, I don't think so, that we would have performed at WWBA with that group as well as we did. Actually went 4-3, should have been 6-1 going into bracket play. Missed out by 1-run game, 2-run game, bombed one a little bit, but everything that got played that weekend was really, that week was really good baseball. The group of guys that were there, whether it be the true 17, 18-year-old guys or even some of the guys that filtered in that younger group, I think we had 29 up there with us. Go 4-3 and you pitched 14-year-old kids in an 18U game. So for the younger guys that are here right now, what you have to understand is when you get to that high school model or that 14U model and you're a 13-year-old, or you might even be a 12-year-old like Wayne's got, you might be asked to pitch in a 13-year-old game or 14-year-old game, or if you're 14, pitch in an 18-year-old game. That got brought to me, 6 years ago. Todd and I have been friends for, too long. I don't like to say how long. He's older though. But when my son came aboard when he was 12-ish, 13-ish, and then the following year at 13, Todd put him in against Taravella at UNO, and I thought it was a joke. 13 playing against a kid that's going to pitch at Loyola. And I'm sitting with Austin Fontenot's dad, and my son's coaching third because he had to go to the bathroom. And then he's pinch running for somebody, and then he's on deck, and he gets in and gets a single. And I'm like, all right, that's pretty cool. You know, he's 13 playing 18s, well, it just continued. So for you younger guys, you have the chance to intermingle with the older group to learn a couple different things. I learned a lot about this guy right here. D. Swole, okay, Darian Duhon from the Lafayette area, takes a 2.5-hour drive Tuesday to come play a game with me at Barrow. His dedication to this group in Oklahoma, where are you going? What's it called? Northern Oklahoma College. He's going there next year. His dedication to this group was like unparalleled. Every weekend, the guy was there playing, whether it be going to WWBA, whether going to Oklahoma, driving 2.5 hours to play a mean-nothing game midweek at Barrow. I appreciate that. Ira Austin, going to be a senior this year at Rummel. Todd's going to call his head coach, Frank Cazzo, and tell him he needs to start throwing more curveballs because it's wicked. We found that out. This kid, if you guys have a chance to watch Catholic League games this year, please watch this kid throw. He's unbelievable, and Colin's been around you now for 4, 5, 6 years. Awesome. Josh Lincoln, Didn't know who the kid was until we were at Nichols this year, and I'm like, dude, lefty, on the bump. I like it. Did a great job for the 17s and the 18s this year. And then Ashton Reed from the west side again. Kid, you tell them about your kid. Oh, you correction officer. Get away. No. Look, Ashley came over, played some real good ball, pitched real well. We met you guys, what, like January. But Jamie was very involved in getting the guys like the Duhans and the guys from the west side. And we don't have Jeff here, but I'm talking too much. I talk more than Ty sometimes. But anyway, it is impossible, Trevor, you're right. Thanks everybody for coming out. Tryouts tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
He's going into that.
Yeah.
And Jamie's going to stay overnight on the cot.
Yeah, so you're welcome. You're welcome. But hey, you know, the high school guys, this is the first group that rebought NOLA Monster baseball back. And Jamie was with another organization, he, along with Jeff Prejean, and they really started rebuilding this brand. And I tell you what these guys did in Georgia was outstanding. You know, Duhan, I had a chance to sign him just recently to Coach Applewhite out there in Oklahoma. You know, sometimes you'll ask, why am I making this trip? And that NOLA Jazz team, again, is going to lose to the eventual Connie Mack champion. Right now, they have no losses, and they're blowing everybody out. And we were in that game, once again, we were in that game until like the third or fourth inning, just kind of like what we did with USA Prime, you know? So, look, I can't thank you guys enough for taking the time out of your night and your lives to come here. Once again, I want to thank Cam Sibley. Stand up, Cam. Dylan Gillies, Brent Williams, and Trevor Buster. It's going to be fun to put those guys up on the wall. And look, I always say this, who's next? You know? I say this to all the young kids. I'm like, who is next? Who's going to be the guy? And, you know, Wayne, you might have a chance. I mean, I saw you put your hand up. You know, thinking I don't pay attention to everything like Lance says. I can see everybody doing everything all the time. Hey, but listen, thank you for everything that you do. Continue to live the NOLA way. I believe in that, and I think that's what separates us from everyone else, because that's kind of what our credo's been, and it's always going to be that way. The auction items are here. You know, Grayson's around. That'll conclude our program. And I just want to tell you guys once again, appreciate you guys trusting in our program. Good night.